Morning, everyone. As Dominique stated, my name is Castian. I'm a junior at Fort Myers High School and I'm 16. I march our school's drumline where I've met probably some of the most important people to me that help me through my journey every day. My experience is broad and comes in many forms as a transgender student in Lee County. 10 years old is when when my trauma became apparent to me and actually set in. As long as I can remember, my biological father has never been around for me more than a month. I've been told stories of how negatively he impacted our lives and saw it every time it was convenient for him to be around. My father drank every day, dawn till dusk, and was highly drug addicted. It brought me so much anger every day. It made me question, why me? Why don't I deserve a decent father figure like everyone else who's normal? I soon learned that normality doesn't come from where you do. My father now has been in prison for over 6 years. He's clean, he's a youth minister, and is even vegan now. Even though I still struggle with him, I believe there's a lot of future potential in our relationship. And I've been gifted with an amazing stepdad to guide me through life and pave a positive straight edge road for me and my little brothers. Nothing has ever been easy being a transgender student. Transgender is someone who doesn't reside with their gender or sex assigned at birth. I've known I was trans since I was very young, but was never given the chance to understand it or explore it until maybe sixth grade. At that point, I read into the topic and came out to my mother. At first, my mother was pretty invalidating and unsupportive. We argued almost every day. Begged her to just try and understand the pain that I went through just to be myself. After about 2 years, she came around to realizing that this wasn't changing anytime soon, and that this wasn't just a phase, but something that I did struggle with greatly every day. She has grown to be my absolute number one supporter, and I wouldn't be the man I am today without my mom, or even my stepdad. He may not understand everything about it, but he's never been opposed or in denial of it, and has done nothing but do his best to support me in any way he can. I'm forever grateful for him. Almost all of my friends were definitely confused at first, but with some more tender love and care on the topic as a group, they came to be extremely supportive and honestly got me through middle school. Without them, I wouldn't be here giving you guys a speech today that I never even knew I had the confidence for. Middle school went as far as people threatening me in the bathrooms, harassing me in the lunchroom, and even in plain sight in front of teachers. What was supposed to be a safe and healthy learning environment was really my worst nightmare every day. I walked those halls with a constant chest full of fear. I never felt safe. Both middle schools I went to were traumatic experiences. No matter where I went, I was bullied. If it wasn't a student, it was a teacher. I felt so alone. But going back to where I went before to connect with these friends, I learned that no matter where you go in life or what you do, there's always going to be people who don't agree with what you are and the choices you make in society. As long as I enjoy what I'm doing and I'm confident in it, it doesn't matter what other people say to me. In this time of switching schools, circumstances were I lost my house and ended up having nowhere to go, couch surfing for many months. This weighed on me more than anything and does to this day. Almost every day, I go to work to make as much money as I can because of a lingering anxiety that my family won't have what they need and could end up crammed in a tiny room again, 5 people. Somehow the burnout always felt worth it, but I gained little satisfaction. I'm seeing that things are getting better and I'm not having to worry about these things. I take time to meditate and breathe and connect with family and friends how I was never able to before. In 2018, I was diagnosed separately with manic depression. It's one of the biggest struggles that I have. Highs and lows, lefts and rights. Manic depression can cause things like hallucinate manic episodes and short-term memory loss. For me, it may also made me lose my motivation. I've lost sleep. I've lost my appetite and end up feeling so disconnected from the world that I isolate myself from people. In the same year, I was Baker acted under an evaluation for self-harm and suicidal thoughts. I think it's safe to say my experience in a mental hospital was bad. I thought I would be going there to get a jump start on some therapy and to get a right first step on bettering myself. But I, in fact, left there with more demons than I ever even showed up with. For me, it was more of a place to just get a break from the cruel world of school and isolate for a bit to clear my mind. On November 3rd, 2017, an exact week before my birthday, I lost my friend Andrew to an overdose. We were closer than sardines packed into a mini can. We did absolutely everything together with our friend Austin before he moved up to Jacksonville, Florida. Night of November 2nd, I went to sleep. He was okay. The next morning, my phone was blown up with notifications from him. One minute he was there, and the next he vanished like I blinked. That morning before I was going to school, I picked up my tablet to see a bunch of messages from Andy telling me, I love you. It's not your fault. Please don't blame yourself. There's nothing you could have done. And before I knew it, I got a hold of his sister just for her to tell me that he passed away. I felt the utmost guilt. And because I told him if he ever needed me, then to just call. But my tablet was on silent that night. It made me feel guilty knowing that I wasn't there for him, and there was probably more that I could have done. I didn't want to accept that he actually wanted to kill himself because I saw him so much brighter than he saw himself. But I've grown to understand that if someone genuinely wants to harm themselves, I'm sorry, that if someone genuinely wants to harm themselves, there isn't much to say to make them stop or think differently. You can't force it on someone. But there are many things that you can say to someone to remind them of their worth. Little things can make the biggest differences in someone's day. We're all capable of love and acceptance. Some just need to be shown that there are people out there who are there for them and they're not alone. I believe Andy would be truly proud of how I've grown and been given this opportunity. It makes me happy to be able to do this and let him live through my speech. No matter where I go, he lives in me as long as I remember him. The way I've coped these past couple years is always keeping in mind what I'm grateful for. Looking around and understanding that I'm safe where I am now, and I'm alive and here for a grand purpose. Simply picking out the small things that you're grateful for can bring you a very long way in a mental journey. I just want to say thank you for everyone who came out and listened to our speeches. We worked very hard on them, and Normal is Overrated has given me an opportunity on a big chunk of perspective that I don't think I'm going to grasp until leaving here today. Awareness and acceptance comes when we decide to break the stigma. No amount of diagnosis can take away your right to have a voice.